Hello everyone, this is Alan. I'm showing off today my Beyond vanilla mod for Minecraft 1.7.10, which is my favorite version. There's a lot of older mods that I really like for this version. So the Beyond vanilla mod really seeks to bring back, so it's kind of a back port of a lot of the vanilla B features, I think in like 1.15 or 1.16 when they first introduced it. But it's not quite a backport, as there are a lot of differences, and I also added some different features just because of 1.7.10's coding limitations. So we're going to be going over that today. Please do keep in mind though, I do have some other mods enabled. You might have noticed that I have Wayla enabled to show some things at the top, and then I just have a lot of other things. But all that you need for dependencies for this mod to get them to work is back in slime, and then also campfire backport. Those are the two dependent mods that you need to run this mod. And then also it works with a lot of different mods. Of course, it's compatible with a lot of basically every other mod, but specifically we've added recipes from Pam's Harvest Craft, so you can use honey and wax, or actually just honey, in Pam's Harvest Craft recipes if you have that mod enabled. And let's see, yeah, I think that's the only other compatibility thing. So again, but that's completely optional. The other two you do need. So let's kind of go over the blocks. Sorry, that was a bit of an explanation, but I have a lot to go over. We have a lot of things, so let's just jump into it and kind of go over all the things that my mod Beyond Vanilla has to offer. So getting into it, the first thing here is a pollinated sapling. Pollinated saplings are different from regular saplings. They have a 40% chance to grow into a pollinated tree. Let's set the time back to day. And then they have a 30% chance to grow into a birch tree or an oak tree. So you can craft them by, let's see here, you can surround an oak sapling or a birch sapling with pollen, or you can surround it with any of the vanilla flowers, and that will craft a pollinated sapling. So if you grow a pollinated sapling, I'll just show you what it does. Let's grab some pollen, and I'll explain what pollen is here. So yeah, so in that case we got lucky. There's a 40% chance to grow 40% chance to grow this kind of tree, and when it does grow, it spawns a beehive, 2 flowers, and a bee. And so that's the unique tree. I'm gonna kill the bee real quick so that way you guys can hear me. But basically, the tree hooks into world generation as well, so it will spawn naturally in some of the biomes. So let's see if I wrote that down. Yeah, so it has a 5% chance of spawning naturally in a flower forest, a plains or sunflower plains biome, or a swamp biome. And then there's a 3% chance for it to spawn in any other forest biome. As long as it has the name forest in it, it will spawn in that biome just at a 3% chance. So that's what will happen when they spawn naturally, or if you bone meal it and grow it, or use pollen to grow it. So that's kind of the new sapling that it introduces to the game. You notice that it has different kinds of leaves on the tree. These leaves can be sheared to give you the block, and then there's also a 5% chance when you break it that it will drop a pollinated sapling, and then there's a 1% chance that it will drop an oak or a birch sapling. So 0.5% chance for oak, 0.5% chance for birch, but you're probably growing them because you want more pollinated saplings. So let's take a bigger look here at the pollinated tree. You can trap the bees just above the beehive. When they spawn, the bees, or when the bees come out of the beehive, they will spawn on the block above it. So if you have a block directly above the beehive, it'll suffocate the bees. So just keep that in mind. That's where they exit, is the top of the beehive. Some important things about the beehive generally is that they start to produce honey. So they have 5 honey levels. You can see at my Wayla description at the top. Beehives have 5 honey levels, and they'll slowly accumulate honey as long as there's at least 2 flowers, so 2 vanilla flowers, and at least 1 bee. And then the more bees you have, so if you have 1 bee, it will produce slower. Let's see. I think I wrote down the time somewhere. Yeah, so 1 bee will take the hive a total of 10 minutes to reach level 5, which is 2 minutes per level. If you have 2 bees next to the beehive, it'll take 5 minutes to reach level 5, or 1 minute per level. And then 3 minutes, or if you have 3 bees, it'll take 3.3 minutes or 40 seconds per level. So it gets close, or the rate increases the more bees you have. If you have more than 3, it'll just cap at the 3.3 minutes total for the honey level 5. And then you also notice that I've got this other block here called the bee muffler. This is a new block which will silence any bees within a 20 block radius, which is why you can't hear these bees right now. And additionally, the bees, let's see. Yeah, so beehives, well, yeah, we'll cover that in a second here. So yeah, so that's the bee muffler. Sorry, I have a lot of things I gotta go over here. I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, yeah, and then let's talk about the bees as well. So bees, they slowly fill up the hive with honey. Also, they occasionally bone meal crops below them, so it looks like a pollination effect, but it'll have the bone meal particles on the ground below the beehive when it pollinates. And then additionally, they will also drop pollen like this. Oops. I didn't mean to do that, but yeah, they'll drop pollen and you can pick it up off the ground. And the more flowers that you have planted, or the more flowers that are around the bee, the quicker the bees will bone meal the ground below them. So if there's between 1 and 10 flowers, the bee will pollinate the ground every 25 seconds. Oh, and just to be clear, it pollinates like crops, so it won't do what this just did where it spawns grass and flowers on like regular dirt, but it will grow crops quicker. And then if there's 11 to 20 flowers, they'll pollinate every 15 seconds. And if there are 21 or more flowers, they will start to pollinate every 7.5 seconds. So there is an advantage to having more flowers for sure, and then also an advantage to having more bees in one area if you're looking to grow a farm. And then let's see a little bit more about the bees. Let me just grab a regular bee here and spawn it. So bees have 3 hearts. If you hit a bee, they will attack you. They'll give you a poison effect for 10 seconds. I'm in creative, so it's not doing any damage. But yeah, so, and then they also drop 1 to 3 XP if you kill the bee. Oh, yep, there we just saw it. The honey level hit level 5, and they can be harvested once they hit level 5. So we're going to talk about that now. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything on that. Looks like I did. So yeah, so also bees will kind of stay, they typically stay within a 10 block radius of your beehive. If you want them to for sure stay by your beehive, it's good to kind of box them in or build like a kind of greenhouse type area for them. But they will stay within the 10 block radius. And then if it's nighttime or if it's raining, the bees will enter the beehive. So let me just show that real quick. So they've went into the beehive. Now they've exited. Same thing with rain. Once the rain clears, they'll come back out of the beehive again at the top. And then also, let me set it back to night. Because beehives or pollinated trees spawn with beehives in the world hook, like on world generation, it's also easiest to find bees at night because the beehives glow. So you'll notice that they kind of creates a glowing area. So if you're flying around, you'll be able to see them more easily at night, which is a good way to find them. Additionally, beehives or bees will attack you if there aren't fire pits, or which I'll talk about a bit more here in a second. If there isn't fire beneath the beehive producing smoke, the bees will attack you, but not at night. At night, you can still destroy the beehive, and it will drop. It'll drop all the bees that are in the beehive along with one queen bee. So we'll get more into that here. Okay, so moving on, set it back to day here. So here are what you can do when you harvest bees. Let me just clear my inventory. So first thing you can do once a beehive reaches level 5 is you will get you can use shears, and shearing the beehive will give you 3 honeycomb. And you can use shears from any mod as long as it has the name shear, or it has the word shears somewhere in the name. So like this is from Extra Utilities, this is from Thermal Foundation, this is just regular shears, which I'll use here. If you shear the beehive, it will give you 3 honeycomb. Before I do that, let me just mention, like, if I grab a beehive, you'll notice that in the Wayla description, this one says it's alert. So if it's alert, and you try and either harvest a beehive or destroy the beehive, any bees within a 10 block radius will attack you and poison you. So in order to prevent that, you need to have a campfire, a soul campfire, or you can just use, you can just grab flint and steel, and setting the ground on fire underneath the beehive will also pacify the beehive. So you'll see that the title or the NBT changed from alert to pacified, back to alert when the fire died out. So these ones are pacified, and if I harvest them, no bees will attack. So let me just show real quick. You can harvest the beehive like so. If you right click, play that sound, and then, where did it go? Oh, there they are. So I dropped 3 honeycomb. I should also note, while we're on the subject of campfires, you can place any carpet block, carpet or trapdoor over the beehive. I can't place it because it's glass. Hold on. So doing that, the beehives will maintain their pacified state, and doing this will prevent bees from accidentally getting caught on fire. So that's a good way to do it. But if you put like a regular block, the beehive will be alert. So the beehive has to be, or there has to be a campfire or fire or soul campfire at least 5 blocks away or underneath, 5 blocks directly below the underside of the beehive. So it can't be like right here, or like out here. It has to be directly below. Okay, so that was the campfires and the shears. Another thing that we can do for harvesting is if you right click on a beehive with a glass bottle, it will give you 1 honey bottle. So let me just do that real quick. So it gave us 1 honey bottle. And then the other thing is, this doesn't require it to be at level 5, but whenever you destroy a beehive, unless it is caught on fire and dies, but otherwise if you destroy a beehive, it will give you one of these queen bees and any of the regular bees that happen to be in there when it's night or raining. So there's an ordinary queen bee, a pollination queen bee, honey queen bee, fertile queen bee, and a comb queen bee, and I'll get more into those in a second, what exactly they do and what they're used for. But generally speaking, you can use them for, let's see, they can be used surrounded by any honeycomb, and with any honey queen in the center, they will create a beehive block. And that's an important recipe, because beehives, when you destroy them, they don't drop themselves, so you can't get a beehive by destroying a beehive. You have to craft one. Okay, so let's move on here. This is a cool thing that I've added to the mod, which is an apiary. Apiaries are crafted with 3 planks on the bottom of any kind, and then 5 honeycomb, and then 1 item frame here in the center. So that gives you an apiary. Let me just clear my inventory one more time. So the apiary block is pretty unique. It does a couple things. First off is it can't be placed like a normal block. It can only be placed right on the side of a beehive. So you can place it on the ground or click it, but it'll only place on the right of the beehive. And that's important just for coding purposes, that it's to the right of the beehive. So that's why you can't just place it anywhere. And then in the apiary, you can place well, actually first, before I show you that, I just want to focus on the outside of the apiary. So it gives you some information about the beehive next to it. The first is it has 5 levels, which will indicate the honey level. If I grab just a couple bees here, let's grab another one. And I need put a bee muffler there so you guys can hear me. So the first thing is, as the beehive gains honey levels, it will fill up this each bar until it reaches the 5th level. So that's just a nice indication. You know, if you don't have Wayla to look at the beehive, the apiary will show you that. And then the next thing are these colors here, which will show you how quickly the beehive is producing honey. So if it's gray, it means that the beehive is not producing honey at all. If it's red, it means that it's slowly producing honey. If it's yellow, it means it's moderately producing honey. And green means that it's quickly producing honey. So I think I also need flowers. Let me just put some sunflowers back here. So it needs at least 2 to start generating, I think. It's probably because there are more beehives in the area. So this is an important thing to note as well, is that beehives check for other beehives within a 20 block radius, and it divides the amount of bees and flowers between each of the beehives. So that way you can't just, so that way if you have a lot in one area, you need 3 beehives for this beehive and then 3 for this one. Or sorry, you need 3 bees for that one, 3 for this one, 3 for this one. And then you need a total of, 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 flowers in the area for each beehive. Oh, look, the bees are dropping pollen. So yeah, so I think the problem is, in this case, we don't have enough bees. So I'd probably have to spawn a lot here, which I will do, just to show you the different colors. So yeah, it's changed to yellow, meaning it's producing honey slightly faster, and it's gained 1 bar. For the honey level being at 1, let's see if we can get it to green here. Yeah, green means it's producing a lot faster now. So let's take a look at what the apiary is actually used for. You can click in here, and inside you can put any bee queen in here from the Beeyond vanilla mod. And what they will do is they will generate, or when the beehive reaches honey level 5, the queen bee will then generate an item here, basically harvests the beehive for you, so it's automatic. You don't have to harvest it with the shears or the honey bottle. So you can walk away and it'll automatically harvest it for you. So that's automation. And then this is just to show you what each queen will produce. So to start with, the honey queen will give you 2 honey bottles at honey level 5. The comb queen will give you 6 honeycomb. The pollination queen bee will give you 6 pollen. And I'll go into these items too in a bit. The fertile queen bee will give you any type of bee. So it might give you regular bee, those ones that fly around, or it might give you any of the queen bees. So that's kind of my, they kind of all do cool things, but the fertile queen bee is a cool way of getting around bee breeding, because that's kind of, it's fun to implement, but I think that this works better for like hardcore mods. If you can't breed them, it just makes sense to have like a fertile queen bee, which can produce them if you have them. And I think it's a bit more fun too to try and get your luck at what kind of queen bee you have and what you're producing. And then the ordinary queen bee has a chance to produce any of these items. Let's see. Yeah, so the ones that are most common to drop are the queen bees. I think they have like a 60% drop chance if you destroy a beehive, and the other ones would have a 10% drop chance. So they're a bit more rare, but you can still get them. Same thing with a fertile queen bee. They slightly increase your chance of getting one of the other queen bees, though, if you have a fertile queen bee. Another thing to note is after the queen bee has produced an item 10 times, it has durability, and it will the queen bee will die. So you'll have to put a new queen bee in there after 10 items have been produced. This is a cool effect too. You notice that it changed to nighttime. All the bees entered the beehive. So now it's showing gray because the beehive is not producing any honey levels because there are no bees around. And then also you might notice this green particle effect. That just indicates whether or not there's a queen bee in there, which is helpful, if you have a lot of beehives and a queen bee has died, then you can quickly see whether there's a queen bee in there or whether there isn't one, whether it's died or you forgot to put one in or something. So set it back to day. And then you'll notice that it changes to green now, and the honey levels are still at 3, green because there are bees that are producing. So I know that's a lot, but I think the apiary is a very important block in this mod for automation and for duplicating items. So like you have a better drop rate for honey, not drop rate, but you get more honey, more pollen, more honeycomb by using an apiary than if you were to just harvest it regularly with shears, a honey bottle, or if you were to just pick up pollen that bees drop. So it definitely increases your rate of getting those items. let's see, maybe we'll come back here in a minute. Looks like it's probably going to hit honey level 5 in a second. But let's just talk about this item real quick. So introduces a, oops, I didn't mean to destroy it, but introduces this item here, a bee net. Bee nets can be used to capture bees and add them to your inventory. So let me just clear this so you guys can clearly see. So you have to, if you're standing real close to the bee, it won't work. Just like a real net, you have to be standing a couple blocks away. There we go. And it'll capture the bee and add it to your inventory. Yeah, I might have to go into survival so that way you can see that. There we go, yeah. So now that we're in survival, you can see that they get added to your inventory. And this is helpful so that way you can capture bees from the wild and move them from other beehives to your beehive at your base, or to, if you're like doing a hardcore mod, this is helpful to capture a bee before you destroy a beehive, because beehives will, or if there isn't a beehive next to a bee, then after 30 seconds that bee will despawn because it doesn't have a home. So it'll despawn, and this is a good way to capture bees and keep them secure if you're destroying a beehive or if you are trying to bring bees back to your home. Okay, let's see. So it looks like okay, I captured bees, so it's producing slowly now, but you'll notice that it doesn't show the honey on the beehive, and it's produced 6 honeycombs. So the ordinary queen being produced one of those random items. In this case happened to be honeycomb. You can't put items into it. You can only take items out of here, but you can put queen bees in here, whichever ones. Yeah, so that's how you craft a bee net, by the way, is 3 string and 2 sticks. Okay, let's talk about honey. Honey bottles are great. So let's just go over the crafting recipe real quick. If you take honey bottles, so they're in stacks of 16. That is because when you just put them into a crafting table, you can craft them into 3 sugar, so 1 honey bottle for 3 sugar, if you want to do that. Also 4 honey blocks anywhere in, or 4 honey bottles anywhere in the crafting table will give you 1 honey block, and will return 4 glass bottles. And then you can do kind of the same thing. You put 4 glass bottles in anywhere, and they will grant you 4 honey bottles. So drinking a honey bottle, just like in regular Minecraft, I have a hunger mod enabled, so it actually will not show the exact amount that it refills. I believe it refills like, shoot, I can't remember off the top of my head, like three lamb shanks or whatever, and then it gives like a 1.5 of saturation. Don't quote me on that. It's whatever vanilla Minecraft has, though. If I were to drink it, you'll see it grants me some saturation, just like it normally does. And then also, importantly, like they also cure poison effect, kind of like milk. So it's just like the actual honey bottle in the actual, Busy Bees Minecraft mod. So if I like spawn a bee and then I attack it, so it poisons me, stings me, I can drink a honey bottle to cure the poison effect. And also, I forgot to mention that the bees die after they sting you. Kind of sad, but yeah, that's what they do. I think that's it for the honey bottles. Oh, actually, real quick, they can importantly be used in Pam's harvest craft. So if you, it's not a dependency, but I think it's fun that you can use my honey item in any of Pam's recipes that typically use, I think it was yeah, any of Pam's recipes that use her honey item are interchangeable with the honey bottle item from my mod. Yeah, so there's a lot of them here. You can use that and create a bunch of different fun recipes. So I definitely recommend trying her mod out. Again, this is years ago that this mod came out, so I'm kind of, developing for an old version, but I think Pam's Harvest Craft is a fun mod, and I really enjoy it. So definitely check that out. Let's see, let's talk about honeycomb real quick. Honeycomb really doesn't do much other than it's used in a lot of important recipes in the mod. So let's see. So yeah, so we can craft wax candles with it using 6 honeycomb and string. Again, you need it to craft the apiary. You can use it to craft a honeycomb block. And then it's also used to craft a beehive. So it's an important item to craft other things in the mod. Yeah. Then I guess it's used in one of Pam's Harvest Craft recipes where she used, I think, honeycomb. Well, now, or actually, I'm not quite sure I remember. I think, yeah, you can either use honeycomb or from my mod or Pam's mod to make that recipe. So yeah, so that's what you use honeycomb for, and we'll get into those other items as well. So the next item is the wax candle, which is crafted with 6 honeycomb and 3 string. Wax candles are fun. They don't actually, so they're a unique item that I've added. They don't actually do anything during the day, but at night, they light up. And they grant the regeneration effect. So it's kind of like this calming effect that if you're next to the wax candle, they'll heal you, which is really nice. But they won't restore your hunger, I think, is how regeneration works. So it's kind of a busted item, but kind of to cap it, the wax candles only last for 24,000 ticks, which is 1 day and 1 night, or 1 night, 1 day, however you want to look at it. So it can only be used for 1 night. So if you craft it, they're really useful, but you're not going to be using them like normal torches or like regular candles for decoration. They're more to heal you and just to look cool. So, but yeah. Once they do despawn, so if I do time set add 12,000, time add 12,000 ticks, so that's like 1 day, and then if I do that again, so I add another 12,000, they will despawn and they'll each drop 2 honeycomb, so you can reuse the honeycomb from them, but they're not enough. It doesn't give you enough to like build another candle, but it is enough that if you destroy it, you get something back. So okay, the next block is your honeycomb block. These are fun. I'm just gonna grab a stack of them. They're purely decorative, just like regular honeycomb blocks. Yeah, I mean, not much to say. They're decorative, so if you want to do something with that, you can. I know people have built like entire worlds of only honeycomb in future versions of Minecraft with the Buzzy Beads mod, or Buzzy Bees update. So it'd be fun if someone decides to do that 1.7.10. You can now. We've added that block. Okay. Next item is our pollen. So pollen works exactly like bone meal does. Yeah, it's cool. Except for it has an added feature that I thought was unique for this mod specifically, which is that you can use it on a flower and it will spawn a flower of the same type. Has a chance to spawn 1 or 2 flowers of the exact same kind within 3 blocks of that flower. And that works for any of the vanilla flowers, including the double tall plants. So if I like do this, it will spawn another one. Yeah, so that's really useful if for a couple reasons. If you want to have one of its particular flower for aesthetic reasons, it helps you get those. And then also it helps you grow flowers that don't grow in certain biomes. So if you like break a flower and bring it back to your base in a different biome, this helps you get those, which is great also in hardcore Minecraft or like a skyblock, which I'm planning to implement this mod in. Skyblock map, my own mod pack, so stay tuned for that. And then also they're great for bees because you need a lot of flowers if you have a lot of bees to create pollen or to pollinate crops for your farms. So they have a good purpose, and of course can be used directly on crops to bone meal them. Okay, so the next block is the honey block. Sorry guys, I know there's a lot of items in this mod, but I just wanted to do everything because I think sometimes a video is more helpful and fun to look at than a dev update or patch, or anyway. So okay, so again, you can craft honey blocks with 4 honey bottles, which I've already shown. Let's see, check my notes about it. So some things about it is if you walk on it, it slows the player. I also like the sound that they make when you place them. Anyway, yeah, so they slow down the player. They also reduce your jump, so they give a negative jump boost is how it does it. If you're on the block, which is good for traps, but they can be destroyed in one hit, just like regular honey blocks. If you let's see, I'm not in creative, so I'll show that in a minute. Another feature is, oh yeah, well, actually let's do it now. So if I'm in creative mode, honey blocks also reduce fall damage by like a crazy, I think it's like 80% or something I set it to. Matches whatever the actual honey block is in the Busy Bees update. So if I just fall from here, I don't take any damage. So that's great. And then also, let's see, you can use it to slowly fall down blocks. So yeah, that's fun. Yay. Okay, so another thing with that is, so with regular blocks, they're a whole block wide, so you can't like sneak past them. But honey blocks are like 1 pixel shorter or like more narrow than regular blocks, so you can actually shift, or you don't have to shift technically, but it's easier to do it. You can traverse on, you can kind of walk around blocked items like this for parkour if you're using honey blocks, because there's like a 1 pixel ledge that the player can walk on, which is cool. Another thing is just like regular honey blocks, you can shoot through them with, oh, I don't have my bow, let's grab it. With any bow, like from a different mod or whatever, it doesn't matter what you use. So normally if you're far away, you can't shoot through honey blocks or regular blocks normally, but if you crouch here, you can shoot between honey blocks. So you kind of see there's this like, it gives you an outline of the hitbox almost of the honey block, and you can see the top of the bottom honey block. So if you aim and shoot between where the bottom of the hitbox is and the top of the other honey blocks, you can shoot through honey blocks. Yeah, you can use bows from other mods too, as long as it's using a bow, Yeah, so the way I'm doing that, if you don't know already, is you have stone slab, you stack 3 honey blocks, and you have or like any kind of slab here. If you walk up and crouch, that puts you just at the right height to do that, to shoot through things. So it's fun for defense or for bases. Another thing that the honey block does is it works with slime blocks and pistons. So it has that vanilla feature that I've added on, which honestly took a while to figure out. But it does. This is why the backend slime mod is a dependency. It's because it requires the functionality from the mod that adds pistons, slime pistons, sticky slime pistons, and slime blocks. And then my honey block just adds on to that. So basically, honey blocks work as sticky blocks, just like slime blocks, but again, they're special, just like normal, because honey blocks and slime blocks do not stick to each other. So they have the same limitations as slime blocks. I forget what it is, like they can only push and pull, 12 or 13 blocks? Don't quote me on that. I don't remember off the top of my head what I made it or what the default limitation is. But yeah, so they work like that. There are some limitations though that I'm just going to highlight because just the coding I couldn't figure out how to get to work for 1.7.10. Just like there are some things code-wise that I just couldn't get to work. Those would be I can't get it to push. I can't get it to like push and pull entities. So like the player or like mobs or whatever. I can't get that to work. So like the slime block works. Again, it's not my block, it's another mod creator where if like you can still bounce off of it. Actually, I don't even have to do that. Can I just fall in regular? Yeah, in creative mode I can. Yeah, so you bounce on slime blocks, and then sticky blocks slow you down, but I don't really have a way of getting them to push and pull the player or mobs. So that's a limitation just because it's an older version of Minecraft. And the other limitation that I have is if you throw an item on a sticky block, they do fall slowly, but there's a desync error between the client and the client and the server, which makes items fall weird. So I'll just show it to you. It'll look like it falls repeatedly from different heights. But even though it looks like that, it's just a visual glitch. So like if you're standing down here, it still takes the proper amount of time for it to fall to you and hit your inventory. So that's a desync error, and I just haven't been able to fix it. I've tried pretty hard, and I can't. I just think it's a limitation of 1.7.10 coding. But if I do fix it, I'll release an update if I can figure it out. Okay, moving on. That was a lot on the honey block, but moving on, we have the bee muffler, which you already saw. It's crafted using regular bee, like a worker bee here, and then use any wool blocks surrounding it. That will give you a bee muffler. And again, any bees within a 20 block radius will be silenced. Alright, so that is the main blocks of the mod. Now we have this extra block that isn't really bee related, but I added because I think it just really needs to be in 1.7.10. It's called a dam block here. Dam blocks are kind of as the name sounds, they work as a dam. So they take a redstone signal, and when they are triggered, they move up. When they're not triggered, they are on the ground. So yeah. And just to note, do not try to use these like pistons. I set them up so that way they can't be abused like that. So you put a block on it, it's not going to push the block, so it won't work like that. And if the player's standing on it, it'll just put you back on the ground. So it can't be abused like a regular piston. So it really can only be used for its intended purpose. It's crafted with 4 string, and 4 trapdoors. And the intention behind this is pretty simple, but it's because in vanilla 1.7.10 there's a limitation for trapdoors where you can't place them directly on the ground. You can only place them on the bottom of a block like this. And you would think like, hey, this is useful, water can flow over the block. Water or fluids, which I guess would be water or lava without mods, they cannot flow over the trapdoor in vanilla 1.7.10 because waterlogging hadn't yet been added to Minecraft at that point, so it's not something that's supported. So you actually can't run a liquid over this. So if I just like put water here, you'll notice that no matter which way the trapdoor is facing, up or down, water cannot flow. Water can't flow over it. So that makes it really annoying for like, because in 1.8 I think they added waterlogging, so water will flow over the trapdoor and you can use it for some basic farm setups. So I wanted to replicate that in this mod. So it adds this dam block, which takes the redstone signal, and when you use it, water can flow under it. And yeah, flows under it. I think that's kind of cool. And then when you close it, it'll stop the water from flowing. And the way that it has to be set up, this is the only way to get it to work in 1.7.10 without other mods, is you have to have a block or blocks behind the dam block. So like you have 1, 2 blocks, and then above it you have the redstone torch, which applies to 3 blocks in front of it. So you'll notice if I raise it again, it only takes 1 redstone torch, but it gets applied to the 3 blocks around it. So you only need 1 redstone torch, not 3 separate ones. And that just allows it to go up and down. And then it also works for lava, of course. If you want to do something like that for a trap, I don't know. So like, yeah, if you do have mods installed, so like, let me just find another liquid block from a different mod. This is set up to work with any kind of liquid. So if I just let's do like milk or something. Is there milk? Yeah, I have milk buckets. Let's see if that'll work. Yeah, so I've got like a milk liquid from, what mod is this? Oh, actually that's default Minecraft. Hold on. Let's see. I don't want to do liquid death. That might. Can I do like? Do I have oil or something? What is this? Liquefied coal bucket. Let's try that. See if it works. Yeah, so it should work with this. It's just a random liquid I found. Yep, and there you go. So it works just like trapdoors do in 1.8, but I think this is a little bit cooler. Looks like a dam. Okay. And so just like overall, I think it's helpful to take a broader picture and look at what you might be able to do with this mod if you're putting all the pieces together. So I think the first thing is you can create a basic farm like this in 1.7.10 where you're using dam blocks to move water down. You have a farm which is 1, 2, well, how many blocks is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's 6 blocks deep, so the water will be released. It will flow down, knocking all the crops out. It will flow into that water, come all the way around into a hopper, into a chest where we'll get wheat, where items are stored. And then you can use or trap bees in the area with these beehives and apiaries facing outwards, so you can harvest the honey and the honeycomb, or whatever you want to harvest from here, the pollen or other bees, while having the bees on the other side of the glass where they can pollinate your crops to make them grow faster. And of course you have the fire pits to pacify the bees, so you can harvest them without any issue, and the bee muffler to silence them. And then you have flowers either in or around the whole tank, so that way the bees pollinate more frequently. Yeah, so it's just, I'm kind of curious, so just put a comb queen in here and watch it do its thing. Yep, there you go. 6. Honeycomb, you notice that it got pulled out. That's because I'm using a different mod. I'm using a tubes mod for 1.7.10 with a requesting tube, which is set to take any items, request these items from the apiary, and it's pulling them into this chest here. So yeah, so you can automate it with pipes or whatever other mods you want, so that way you don't have to manually harvest the beehives or take things out of the apiary all the time. You know, so there's a lot of flexibility. I'll just show you, you know, with those dam blocks, we can pull the lever and it'll send water down to automatically harvest our wheat. And watch them all flow down. And just keep in mind that the bees won't escape despite like any of these gaps here, because the water is taking up that whole space. But also the bees fly at a height of around 4 to 5 blocks above ground, or they try to, so they don't have a tendency to fly very low. They're more likely to fly higher. So now I've got all the wheat in the chest. So yeah, so that was my mod, Beyond Vanilla. I might have more patches coming out, but yeah, I hope you find it helpful and that you get a lot of use out of it. Thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for the next update.